side. The topic on which I have been asked to speak on is training. Training, the turning point of life. You'll all be wondering that how can training be the turning point? It is all about PT, it is all about parade, it is all about reading a few books. So what is great about training? Let me tell you one very interesting incident. It was only day before yesterday. I was watching a TV program. There Madhuri Dixit was the chief guest. One girl asked her, how do you rate today's female actors? Madhuri Dixit instantly said, they are much better, they are much more professional. Ever since I have been wondering, a veteran actor like Madhuri Dixit could say that today's generation, today's female actors are much better. How should they be much better? That is the question I have been asking and I have been thinking of. Gentlemen, only because they are professional, they are trained, they have been exposed to varied experiences of life which were not possible during the time of Madhuri Dixit. And that brings to the point that training is the turning point of life. Let me remind you of a beautiful proverb that is in English. Give a man a fish, give a man a fish for a day, you feed him for a day. Give a man a fish for a day, you feed him for a day. But when you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Gentlemen, therein comes the question of training. I want each one of you to understand, I want each one of you to realize that you are very lucky. You are very lucky because you belong to a country where thousands and thousands of youth do not have the privilege to have a platform that you have got. Think of your time when you were in schools, think of your villages, think of your small towns, think of the difficulties you all faced, think of the hardship that you underwent. Yes, I understand that you deserve to be congratulated, you deserve to be appreciated because you did not stop in the face of the difficulties, in the face of the hardship. And that's the reason I'm very fond of telling, darker the night, brighter will be the day. That has been the typical characteristics of Indian society. In our country, people have been rising from ashes, from herds. They start from scratch and they reach the very pinnacle of success and glory. And it is that point that brings a sense of hope that this nation is not only the great democracy, is not only the future of the world, it is a country which is going to survive and survive for a long, long time. Coming to the point of training, what is great about training? In the whole world, you go to any organization, whether it is private or government sector, you will find that training is very, very important. Why is there so much of emphasis on training? So in the case in Indian Air Force, you must be wondering that why are so much of efforts being made to train us? Gentlemen, training is important because we need to expose the newcomers to new lifestyle. A new value system becomes important because every organization works on certain values, certain principles. Now you would ask me a question. Very like uninterested. You are talking about the organizational goals. You are talking about the requirement of the organization. Why should we take interest in training? It's a very pertinent question. It's a very big question. I too have been thinking, why should you take interest in training? Only because gone are the days when one could survive, one could be happy with a job. Today, life is all about challenges, and you cannot meet challenges unless you change. And training is nothing but an attempt to change. It is a process of bringing about change in an individual, and hence we need to change. There is a beautiful book by Dr. Spencer Johnson. The name of the book is Who Moved My Cheese? The essence of that book is anticipate change, be ready to change again and again, and enjoy change. Change is the key word today, and therefore training becomes very important. It is important also because training makes you tough, not only physically tough, mentally tough. And training is all about 3 letters of English. They are A, S, and K. What it becomes? Ask. It is not just ask. It is a beautiful amalgamation, a beautiful blend of 3 important values, and those values are attitude, skill, and knowledge. Any training in the world is all about attitude. So attitude is the most important factor, and that is the essence of training. Now you'll ask me, what is this attitude? We very often hear that somebody has a positive attitude, somebody has a creative attitude, somebody has a negative attitude. So what is it all about? Let me tell you a beautiful story. Who was Leo Tolstoy? Wonderful, wonderful. It's really inspiring to find younger lords like you to be in the know of so many good things. But you may not be knowing one very interesting thing about Leo Tolstoy. When he completed his great work, War and Peace, after working very hard for 5 years, the first thing he did was to go to his wife and tell her that I have completed my mission. She was so upset because Leo Tolstoy did not have any time for recreation for his family because of his preoccupation with his book. She was so frustrated that she at once snatched the manuscript from him and put it into fire. All the efforts were gone in a second. What happened then? What happened then? Could you guess? Leo Tolstoy did not speak a word, and he immediately went back to his study room and started writing the book again. What a surprise! You will say that is not possible. He was not a normal human being. Gentlemen, I would agree to say so because he was the one who understood the importance of attitude in life. He knew because he had a great ambition in life. He had great objective in life, and he was one who understood one thing very, very clearly, that as long as the river flows, nobody cares for it. Anybody can change the direction of a river, but the day a river gets flooded, it is very difficult to change the course of the action of the river. Gentlemen, each one of us has the potential, each one of us has the ability to get transformed into that river which is flooded. And once the river is flooded, nobody can change the direction and course of river. I want each one of you to understand the importance of that. And I am convinced that each one of us has the ability, each one of us has the potential. Since Squadron Sudhakarsan told me there was a lecture yesterday by somebody from Ramakrishna Mission, I feel tempted to quote Vivekananda here. He was very fond of saying, each soul is potentially divine. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest the divinity within. Do it by work, worship, psychic control, by one for deed and be free. Gentlemen, what is important is Each one of us has the tremendous ability, tremendous potential. Now you'll ask me the question, that if each one of us has a tremendous potential, each one of us has a tremendous ability, how come very few people are successful? Very few people achieve some height, some glory in life. So, how could you believe me that each one of us has tremendous potential? Yes, gentlemen, this is a very important question if you have this in mind. In fact, most of us are unaware. Most of us are unaware, we do not know. Even Kabir Das was fond of saying, Pani beech mean payasi, Pani beech mean payasi, mohi suni suni aag khasi. So gentlemen, we need to understand the foundation of a training, the foundation of a transformation must begin with the self-realization. And that is why attitude is very important. You must have that attitude in life. You all know that way back in 1498, if I remember the date correctly, the sea route to India was discovered. Who was the person who discovered the sea route to India? From which country he was? Wonderful, he was a Portuguese. But gentlemen, I ask you a question. Was he the only person who wanted to come to India through sea route? No. So many wanted to come. But how come he and he alone succeeded? Only because, okay, one of you say it was creative attitude. In fact, he was a person who was fired by enthusiasm. He was fired by Josh. He was very clear-cut objective. He had a very clear-cut objective in his life. मंजिल की जुस्तजू में फिरता है तुम्हें राही, मंजिल की जुस्तजू में फिरता है तुम्हें राही, इतना बुलंद हो कि मंजिल तुझे पुकारे. Gentlemen, life is certainly not a bed of roses for anyone. It's true, but history repeats itself. If you cast a glance at history, your heart will swell with a sense of pride. All those who reached great heights, they were all from rural background. They were all from huts. And therefore, there is a ray of hope for many of you, for most of you. So gentlemen, attitude is very, very important, and it is this attitude that we need to take care of, because it is this attitude that can take you to greater heights. Attitude is what decides your altitude in life. How far you will go tomorrow in life, it will be decided by your attitude.